Hey guys, Sovereign Jane Jenkins here. So I just wanted to talk about an aspect of my book, P Policy. It's about setting boundaries and maintaining self-respect. It's a self-help book to elevate the consciousness of young women and society at large. So check it out. It's on Amazon and Kindle. But I just wanted to talk about today how it is important not to build love on a foundation of trauma. Reason being is that love could eventually turn into a trauma bond if something happens in that relationship to where the person is traumatized or triggered, especially off something that happened in the past. Now, my book does go into aspects of that because I had a background of trauma and going into my first relationship. I knew I had to handle that trauma before I could build a healthy and safe relationship for myself. So, luckily, I was able to heal on my own because of my father wounds and because of my fear of abandonment. And I healed all those wounds slowly but surely, and I didn't start dating until I was 22. So, when I got into a relationship at 22, and this person was not what I initially wanted, but the more I had interactions with him and the more I got to know him, the more I thought, okay, maybe this could work. So I gave it a shot, I gave love a try, and after I handled that trauma from the past, I thought I was ready for all those emotions and all of the things that came with love. But what I wasn't ready for is that when it came to an end, nobody told me. Nobody told me what going through a breakup was like. Nobody told me it was like cutting off your left arm and dipping it into a pond of lemon juice. It felt horrible. And I think it traumatized me more as an adult, and all those feelings from the past, like from the childhood, came rearing back and hitting me all at once. And I realized that I was experiencing complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and I did not know how to handle it. And I feel like that caused me to go into this space of psychosis to where I went up to somebody's job and I acted a fool because I know who this person was and I knew where she worked because my ex decided to cheat on me. Okay, not a good idea because I am the result of cheating. I was born an illegitimate child because of what? Cheating. So that was my trigger, that was my trauma. And no, you cannot control the actions of someone else, and you cannot make them treat you right. You cannot make them not do something that's going to traumatize you or trigger you. But what you can do is refuse to stick around afterwards. And when it happened, I was good about leaving. I packed my stuff and I left. But I didn't realize is that the dopamine, the chemical cocktail, the serotonin, the oxytocin had a hold on my mind. So I felt the need to run back once the pain became great because it was essentially an addiction that I could not shake, and I had no clue how powerful it was. And then the addiction transitioned into the trauma bond. So now I felt like I had to run back to this person. I did not know how to get over this person, and I felt like I could never get over this person. So back I went. But luckily, he already had a situation that he had started in the meantime, so he was seeing somebody else. And it made me jealous, and it triggered those jealousy feelings within me. And I'm not typically a jealous person, but it was after this relationship and the insecurities that came up that I felt the need to be jealous. And I realized that it was him, he was the problem. And I came into that relationship just simply to be open and to love as much as I can with the capacity that I had. And I was honest about it. So I was like, you know what? I gave him my best shot. And to look back and turn around and see that he had moved on in less than, I want to say, 3 weeks, somebody else that looked complete opposite of me. And I felt really disrespected because I'm like, how could you? But at the end of the day, I couldn't really feel a way because we were not together. But because of that hold and that addiction, I felt angry. I felt very upset. And I did not know how to emotionally regulate and control myself in that moment. So I found myself in a way trying to get over him, but at the same time, slight stalking him in the meantime because of that addiction. And I did not know how to get over it. I didn't know how bad the withdrawals were going to be. And it took, I want to say, a year for me to just completely disassociate myself with the entire interaction because it was so unhealthy. But what I learned from that situation is that I have to always put myself first and love me enough to walk away from something that's not serving me. Because in the end, I might have lost the battle, but I won the war because I was able to move on and become a healthy version of myself. It took some time. It took probably 2 years afterwards, but it took a year to completely cut off all access from this person because he thought he was going to keep me around in the background as an option, but I'm nobody's option. I'm nobody's second choice. I am never going to be a side piece. That is not my MO. I've seen that happen. I grew up watching that as a thing. That was not going to be my testimony. So I just, bye, threw him out. Threw him out my life. I moved to another state and I decided to keep going because I knew that that was not going to be the end of my story. It could have been. I could have done something that would have caused me to go to jail and lose my life, lose my career, and all the things. And this person would have been going on with their life. And it wouldn't have mattered. Everything would have been in vain. And not only that, it would have stroked his ego because he would have thought, I'm so good as a man that I got women fighting over me. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're just somebody that took advantage of a situation where somebody was a virgin and was green, and you had somebody else on the other side who was trying to get you back, but she didn't really want you as well because she broke up with you. So, hey, that was a perfect situation for triangulation. And I did not know about triangulation at the time, so I did not feel the need to address the girl because I was like, okay, if she cannot actually sit down and have a meeting with me and talk to me, then I don't think that she needs to be even in this vicinity of our relationship. I said that from the very beginning, but again, this guy did not respect boundaries. Should have walked away when I figured out he was not going to respect my boundaries, but I still stayed because things kept happening, life kept happening. And I did not want to just give up on something that I spent time on because I'm not used to spending time on something and watching it fail. And I think that's the misconception. We think that because we invest so much time and effort into something that we have to see it through, even though it is not serving us. And you know it's not serving you because your mind is going crazy. You are going into this space of sadness, depression, anxiety, and worried about somebody that is clearly not respecting you. And I had to realize that I'm being re-traumatized here, staying in this relationship, staying stuck in a moment and not letting go. I'm going back into the feelings that I had as a child when my parents were going at it. And it was so many confusing dynamics at the time. I was just a person that was an onlooker. I was just looking left, right, back and forth because at the end of the day, there was nothing I could do. I had no control over that situation when I was younger. But as an adult, I have full control. So now I have to take full responsibility and make sure that I'm making the correct decisions for myself by moving on, by saying goodbye, by letting that relationship slide by the wayside because it was unhealthy and it had slowly turned into an unhealthy mess. So I needed to start over because I realized that that relationship had been essentially set on fire with gasoline, and it was built on top of a foundation of trauma. And the love, the walls of love, the actual house, the roof, the walls, it was in vain. Like that love was no more, and eventually it turned into a very strong dislike, bordering on hate. But I don't believe in hating anybody. I don't believe in carrying malice in my heart for somebody. So I cannot say that I hate that person. But I will say that that situation taught me a lot, and it taught me about my own strength and my own will and the power of letting go of somebody when they're not serving you. So check out the book, P Policy. It came out in 2024, the beginning of 2024 last year, but volume 2 is going to be out this year, guys. So stay tuned. And yeah, I am an author out of Mississippi. I spent about a year writing this book, and I went to Austria to write it. And I took some time out just for me to focus on getting past the traumas and processing everything to get to a healthier space. So this was my therapy. Check it out. Sovereign Jane Jenkins.